Alright, so today we're working on a Echo SRM-210 grass trimmer. I bought this for a few bucks off of Facebook, and it worked pretty good. After I did a couple things to fix it up, I'll go through that in another video. But ultimately what happened is this locking mechanism at the top works just fine, but there's a trigger underneath that actually broke off. This is the new one that I bought off Amazon. Hopefully it's the right fit, right piece, but it basically broke off right about there. So we're gonna tear this apart and see if we can replace it. All right, so I just used a Phillips head to remove 3 screws. Kind of pry this open, this casing open, and here's the piece of the trigger that came out. As you can see, there's your cable with the end there that kind of fits in that slot. And then there's one other thing on the other side. It's a spring. So you should just be able to remove that and put it onto your new piece, but you can tell that it's the exact same type of trigger. And then this cable, of course, comes back through your throttle assembly here and is what allows you to engage the throttle from this trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and put this spring here, connect the cable to the top of the trigger here, and then set it in that casing again. Put the screws back in and see if she'll start up and throttle up for us. One thing I just wanted to point out real quick is here's the old spring on the new trigger. As I was doing that, I noticed there's a broken piece inside here. So make sure you get any broken pieces out of there and maybe clean it up. There was also some gunk in there. Just make sure it's clean and dirt free so that when you put your new trigger in there, everything runs smoothly. All right, one more thing I wanted to show you. If you look on the trigger, there are 2 pegs on each side. And when you're putting this back in there together, you want to make sure to get those pegs. If you can see that, there's right there. There you go. There's one on that side and one on the other. Make sure they're seated properly. And right now I've kind of got this whole assembly to the side, but once I set this in, I'll roll it over. You can see that I've got too much slack on my throttle cable there, but once I turn this back down, it should tighten that up and I can test that trigger out before I screw everything back together. All right, let me show you one thing real quick. I told you there were 3 screws, and I just wanted to make sure you got a good picture of this. Each of the screws are different sizes. So the really short one actually goes inside this hole, and there's a metal bracket within there that holds it. The bottom one takes the medium-sized screw, and then the top, that one takes the long screw. So make sure you put the screws in the right spot. Alright, so got everything back together. Warmed it up a little bit just to show you, but look down here and the trigger can pull up there and it springs right back. Let me start it up for you real quick. That's how you fix the trigger.